Hello everyone, welcome back to Financial News in Palos Heights. And today being August 12, 2019, Paul Munichel is going to give us an update on a few things, and I will give you the current. Well, you're going to give us an update of what took place last week. I'll give you a current after that, Paul.
Sounds great. You know, if you're focusing on the recession odds, you're really missing the point of what you should be looking at. So as investors, we constantly examine the economic landscape for signs of recession. Now, this is perfectly understandable, but people often look past the basic underlying reason why. You know, we do this because economic downturns bring a drop in corporate sales and earnings. And these are the factors that are the basis of a company's values, which leads to their stock price. So when we mention this, what may seem like an overly simplistic commentary, because we believe people may currently be overly focused on the recession odds. Now, the current situation is different. It's different because whether or not we ultimately experience a trade turmoil-induced recession, it's important to notice that corporate earnings expectations have already been dropping. That's largely due to the economic consequences already inflicted. So since the year began, the S&P 500 consensus earnings per share estimates for 2020, they've declined by more than $10. This is often overlooked because estimates for 2020 still show earnings as expected to post a year-over-year increase of 11%. Now, this strong percentage gain, however, is totally reflective of the fact that full-year earnings per share expectations for 2019, they've been falling nearly as fast. So according to FactSet, 2019 full-year earnings per share estimates, they're currently at 165.23, which is down $8.48 from the start of the year and 36 cents just from last Monday. So unfortunately, the negative influence of trade turmoil has only increased since the start of this year. Despite all this, we still believe a recession here in the U.S. remains unlikely over the intermediate term, primarily due to a very strong consumer sector. However, we could yet slip into recession should some external event occur as to cause a sudden drop in consumer sentiment and thus their spending. So for additional information on this topic or others that we talk about, you can always call us over at Ameriprise. Call me directly at 708-226-3412.
And morning notes came in that I'm going to share with you from Ameriprise Financial. They share this with us. Here are basically four things that they wanted us to share with you. Is the S&P 500 index. Futures are lower this morning as index looks to avoid the third consecutive losing week. Hong Kong Hang Seng Index finished lower overnight as violent protests in the city weighed the markets on the worldwide. WTI crude oil is trading lower by more than 1% amid worries about the global economic slowdown and the ongoing U.S.-China trade war. I'm glad to hear that come down.
Yeah, I mean, oil dropping is I guess, could be a positive effect of trade wars. I mean, as you're reading, everything globally is being affected by this. So it's not just U.S. and China.
Right. Bond yields are broadly lower, with the yield on the 10-year Treasury back below 1.7 this morning. Paul, the interest rates came down, was it last week? Fed's
last Fed meeting, they reduced rates.
Reduced rates. So that's having an impact on mortgage rates in banks and CDs and things of that nature. Is that true?
Yep, and as you just mentioned, interest rates have fallen again, so that is going to affect lending rates and could help spur even the real estate market if lending is cheap. Who knows?
Yeah, right. And I did notice that the mortgage rates did drop way below 4%.
I haven't checked them in a while, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, 3.50, and depending on 30 or 15-year mortgage, and I see some banks are even offering 3.75 for 15-year.
You looking for a new house? Why are you checking your mortgage rates?
Well, I was getting prepared for our show. Anyway, here's the recaps of the year-to-dates. The S&P 500 is plus 17% year-to-date. The Dow is a plus 14% year-to-date. NASDAQ is a plus 20% year-to-date. And basically, your report about the consumer sector is really holding, and it looks like things are pretty much going to stay on track.
The economy is rolling. You got more people working, which means you have more people spending. And obviously that's going to be benefiting companies and earnings.
Isn't that the key to almost everything, what you just said?
I think so, yeah.
If you're working, you're spending, you're earning money, rather you're spending money, and the consumer index is always going to be strong.
Yep.
Okay, stay with us. Paul will be back talking about your money. He has a topic that usually shares with us. Stay with us. We'll be right back. And we're back with your money. This is an interesting topic, insurance. And Paul, I'm going to just let you start rolling with it. You know, you usually renew your policies every year. And should you be thinking about some of the changes in your lifestyle and incorporate that in your insurance policy?
Absolutely. You know, insurance, it's one of the fundamental financial tools for any household. Most people recognize the important role of insurance, but many are unsure of how it works. So if you have questions about insurance, you aren't alone. And as a financial advisor, I get a variety of questions about insurance. So today we're going to go over some of the most common questions.
And again, I'm going to bring up making changes to your policy every year. You may have changes in your life and your family.
Absolutely. So just as your life can evolve over time, your insurance needs may change as well. Consider reviewing your insurance coverage at least annually. This can help you determine if policies you currently own are cost-effective and still a good fit for you. It may also help you to evaluate if there are policies you no longer need and identify any gaps you may have in coverage.
Paul, if you have an insurance policy through your employer, should you be making additional changes for coverage if you need?
Well, it's worth comparing the cost of that coverage with other types of options available to you. So life insurance as an employee benefit isn't always less expensive or sufficient to cover your entire financial situation. Also, if you should leave that employer, your coverage will ultimately be lost. You'll want enough protection in place to meet your family's needs, particularly if your work circumstances change.
And I think this is a good point here. Variable universal life, and how does that differ from the traditional life policies?
So these policies can get a little complicated. Universal life policies are permanent policies that have a savings component, but in a variable policies, savings can be put to work in investments such as stocks and bonds. Now that creates potential to accumulate more savings, but also adds a degree of risk if your investment choices perform poorly. This may impact the premiums due or your death benefit. Now some policies offer a ways to lock in a guaranteed minimum death benefit, something to look into.
Paul, what are riders? For the sake of the viewers, I'm sure they hear this from insurance brokers and insurance salespeople about how do you select the proper one?
I mean, riders are just options. So riders are benefits you can add to your policy, usually for an extra cost. With life insurance, they can range from having the option to have premiums waived in certain circumstances, such as being unable to work or disability, the right to claim an accelerated death benefit if you should become terminally ill, or you might have a rider that gives you the return of premium if you don't die within the term of the policy, and even coverage for long-term care needs. Your unique circumstances and priorities can help you determine if any riders might be right for you.
And what is disability income insurance and how does it work?
Good question. So this is an important form of coverage that provides a stream of income if you are unable to work for an extended period of time due to injury or illness. It's designed to replace a portion of your income to help meet your living expenses while you are unable to work. This can be vital, not only to pay bills, but also to keep your long-term financial goals on track. Policies typically include a waiting period of 90 days between the time you stop working and when income payments might begin.
And how might insurance requirements change later in life?
So you'll want to consider different strategies as you grow older. Long-term care insurance may be worth considering when you are in your 40s or 50s to help deal with the rising costs of extended care as you age. When you retire, you'll likely no longer need to maintain disability income coverage, and depending on your level of wealth, you may want to consider incorporating life insurance into your estate plan. Insurance is a critical component in your overall financial plan. As always, we recommend talking to your financial advisor and insurance specialist to review your current coverage and determine how you might be able to upgrade it or incorporate more cost-effective solutions.
Boy, this is a good topic, and usually you do bring in good topics, but this particular about insurance, you concentrate on investments and this type of thing and making changes into your profile and your objectives. And insurance kind of gets lost over to the side and you don't even think about it. So all the things that you had talked about are really important.
It's definitely something you should consider in a balanced portfolio
Yeah.
if you haven't looked at it.
Right. Paul, I'll let you close.
Yep, if you've got questions at all, feel free to call me directly at 708-226-3412.
And for Paul Munical with Ameriprise Financial, myself, Ron Jankowski with Channel 4 and Pale Sites, we both wish you good investment day.